AWS debuted a new machine learning certification, the AWS Certified Machine Learning Engineer Associate. But I've gotten several questions because AWS already had a machine learning certification called the AWS Machine Learning Specialty. In this video, we're going through both of those certifications so you can figure out what are the differences and which one you should pursue. Also, I want to share with you the channel has hit a big milestone, which is the reason I'm holding these balloons. We have recently crossed 11,000 subscribers. So I want to thank everybody who has subscribed. And if you're new here, I'm Greg, the creator of Thoughtful Techie Cloud. Each week, I create a simple to understand video to help you navigate your AWS cloud and tech journey. And if you haven't already, join the over 11,000 subscribers that have already subscribed. I always like to start these videos off by going through the AWS certification hierarchy because I think it's very important you get a bird's eye view of what's going on here. Now we're comparing the Machine Learning Engineer Associate to the Machine Learning Specialty. So the Associate, of course, falls under the Associate level of the hierarchy, and Associate level certifications are role-based certifications that showcase your knowledge and skills on AWS and help you build your credibility as an AWS cloud professional. Going over to the specialty area, the specialty certifications help you dive deeper, keep a close eye on that word, and position yourself as a trusted advisor to your stakeholders and or customers in the strategic areas. And the associate and specialty certification sit also within the foundational and professional, which sit in the overall AWS certification hierarchy. So we'll start off with the AWS Certified Machine Learning Engineer Associate overview first. Now this is going to validate your technical ability in implementing ML workloads in production and operationalizing them. This will boost your career profile and credibility and help you position yourself for in-demand machine learning jobs. This is an associate level certification. Now, this is in a beta exam phase. This beta exam phase is not going to last forever. So depending on when you watch this, eventually this beta exam phase is going to lift. The exam duration is currently 170 minutes in the beta exam phase, and there are 85 questions. While this is in beta, the exam costs 75 USD. So that is pretty darn good because associate certifications usually cost $150. And the specialty you'll find here in a minute is 300 US dollars. Now, the intended candidate for the Machine Learning Engineer Associate is going to be individuals with around 1 year of experience with a focus on using Amazon SageMaker and a few other ML engineering AWS services. Now, as we jump over to the AWS Certified Machine Learning Specialty, let's look at that brief overview. This credential is going to help identify and develop talent with critical skills for implementing cloud initiatives. By earning your Certified Machine Learning Specialty, this is going to validate expertise in building, training, tuning, and deploying machine learning models on AWS. Let's take a look at the exam overview. Again, this is a specialty level certification. The length is 180 minutes. Cost $300 USD. So currently, while that machine learning engineer associate is in beta, the machine learning specialty literally costs 4 times as much. And the format for the machine learning specialty is 65 questions, and it's going to be a mix of multiple choice and multiple response. Now, here's where the fun really starts to happen. We're looking at the AWS Certified Machine Learning Engineer Associate exam guide. So basically, as you notice here, I'm bouncing back and forth. As we cover one, we'll go over to the other and make a direct comparison. Now, don't worry because everything I'm talking about, I'm going to put in the links below so you can review these again offline. This exam is going to validate your ability to build, operationalize, deploy, and maintain machine learning solutions and pipelines on AWS Cloud. The exam guide does a really nice job digging into this for the Machine Learning Engineer Associate. You're going to need to be able to do tasks such as ingest, transform, validate, and prepare ML data modeling, select general modeling approaches, train models, tune hyperparameters, analyze model performance, and manage model versions, choose deployment infrastructure and endpoints, provision compute resources, set up continuous integration and continuous delivery pipelines, monitor models, data, and infrastructure to detect issues, and secure ML systems, resources through access controls, and compliance features and best practices. Now here we see that target candidate description. The target candidate for the machine learning engineer associate should have at least 1 year of experience using the Amazon SageMaker and other AWS services for ML engineering. That target candidate also should have at least 1 year of experience in related roles such as back-end software developer, DevOps developer, data engineer, or data science. So there's a wide range of roles that would be suited to go ahead and dive into and start preparing for the machine learning engineer associate certification. Some of that recommended general IT knowledge for this certification: basic understanding of common ML algorithms and their use cases, data engineering fundamentals, and knowledge of querying and transforming data. Also, we want to look at being able to have knowledge of software engineering best practices for modular reusable code, familiarity with provisioning and monitoring cloud and on-premises ML resources, experience with CI/CD pipelines, and experience with code repositories and version control for those CI/CD pipelines. Pay close attention to the recommended AWS knowledge. Target candidate need to have familiarity with SageMaker, knowledge of AWS storage and processing, familiarity with deploying applications and infrastructure on AWS, knowledge of monitoring and logging, knowledge of AWS services for automation, and understanding AWS security best practices for identity management, encryption, and data protection. One additional thing I wanted to point out for the machine learning engineer associate are the question types. Now, AWS has always had the multiple choice and multiple response. So multiple choice was essentially selecting one correct response out of 3 incorrect responses, and multiple response was pick 2 or more correct answers out of a total of 5 choices. However, with the machine learning engineer associate as well as the AI practitioner, AWS has introduced additional question types to include ordering, matching, and case study. So for ordering, you'll have 3 to 5 responses to complete a specified task, and then you must select the correct response and place the responses in the correct order to receive credit for that question. For the matching, you'll have a list of responses to match with a list of 3 to 7 prompts, and you must match all those pairs correctly to receive credit for that question. And with the case study, you'll have one scenario with 2 or more questions about that scenario. Now, the scenario is the same for each question in the case study, and each question in the case study will be evaluated separately. So you'll receive credit for each question that you answer in that case study. Keep these question formats in mind as we flip over now back to the AWS Certified Machine Learning Specialty Exam Guide. This exam is going to be intended for individuals who perform an artificial intelligence and machine learning development or data science role. So you notice in that machine learning engineer associate that we just talked about, the roles are more flexible in terms of what you can do, but machine learning specialty is, okay, you're already doing artificial intelligence, you already are doing machine learning development or data science, like that's your day-to-day from the perspective of who would typically go for the machine learning specialty certification. This exam is going to validate your ability to complete these tasks. Select and justify the appropriate machine learning approach for a given business problem. Identify appropriate AWS services to implement those ML solutions, and design and implement scalable, cost-optimized, reliable, and secure ML solutions. Now let's go ahead and expand on that target candidate description. There's a key detail in here I want to emphasize. The target candidate should have 2 or more years of experience developing, architecting, and running machine learning and deep learning workloads in AWS. So right there, machine learning engineer associate was talking around 1 year. We've already doubled that. Matter of fact, it says 2 or more for machine learning specialty. So that's a big difference. Recommended AWS knowledge for that target candidate: the ability to express the intuition behind machine learning algorithms, experience performing basic hyperparameter optimization, experience with ML and deep learning frameworks, the ability to follow model training best practices, deployment best practices, and operational best practices. Now, for those question types, you're just going to be given multiple choice and multiple response. All right, and perhaps the most important thing, let's talk about the domains for the machine learning specialty certification. There's going to be 4. Domain 1 is going to be data engineering, worth 20% of scored content. Domain 2, exploratory data analysis, worth 24% of scored content. Domain 3, modeling, worth 36% of scored content. And domain 4, machine learning implementation and operations, worth 20% of scored content. Now let's jump back over to the Machine Learning Engineer Associate certification so we can take a look at the domains there. We also have 4 domains in the Machine Learning Engineer Associate certification. Domain 1 is data preparation for machine learning, worth 28% of scored content. Domain 2 is machine learning model development, worth 26% of scored content. Domain 3, deployment and orchestration of ML workflows, worth 22% of scored content. And domain 4, machine learning solution monitoring, maintenance, and security, worth 24% of scored content. So make no mistake about it. Now, there is going to be some overlap between the Machine Learning Engineer Associate certification and the Machine Learning Specialty. But now I really want to take what we've learned here and call out the major differences. And to do that, I'm going to point your attention to 3 different resources, starting with this blog here, Inside Look at New AI and ML AWS Certifications. Now, what we're going to do, we're going to scroll down here to about midway, and there's a section called Comparing AWS Machine Learning Certifications, Associate versus Specialty. It says that the Machine Learning Engineer Associate is focused on the validating role-based ML engineering skills knowledge, whereas the Machine Learning Specialty dives deeper into data engineering, analytics, modeling, and ML implementation and operations. The specialty certification validates expertise in these functions and is suitable for candidates who have at least 2 years of experience running ML workloads on AWS. So as we're going over this, as well as reading this blog here, you begin to understand that the machine learning specialty is going to dive even deeper than the machine learning engineer associate. And as a result, likely have a higher degree of difficulty if you were to compare those 2 certifications and take more effort to prepare for that machine learning specialty. Now, your results will vary because it depends on your background. If you've been in the machine learning and artificial intelligence space for a decade, then this might be a walk in the park. But if you're just kind of starting your AI machine learning journey, you're probably going to be best positioned to start with that machine learning engineer associate first, then graduate up to the machine learning specialty should you want to go in that direction and your career that you're going for takes you there. The other thing I want to point you to is a frequently asked question. How is the AWS Certified Machine Learning Engineer Associate different from the AWS Certified Machine Learning Specialty? Says here, and again, some of the things we've already talked about. The associate is a role-based certification designed for ML engineers and ML ops engineers with at least 1 year of experience. The AWS Machine Learning Specialty is a specialty certification covering topics across the data engineering, the data analysis, the modeling, the ML implementation, and the operations, and is suitable for individuals with 2 or more years of experience developing, architecting, and running ML workloads on AWS. And one more area that I really want to drive the point home. This is the AWS certifications path document. This is incredible. And you can use this for many things. We're focused on the machine learning right now. So I'm just going to scroll down here and I'm going to go stop on Cloud Data Engineer. So this would be if you automate collection and processing of structured and semi-structured data and monitor data pipeline performance. If you look here, they recommend Machine Learning Engineer Associate, right? Because while you may not work in the AI and ML space as your role, you're definitely going to be interacting with other people that may interact with that role. So you're going to need to be familiar with it. Now let's look at a couple of other different roles. Cloud DevOps Engineer. The Cloud DevOps Engineer, it recommends for IT and cloud professionals who are working on AI and ML projects to go after the Machine Learning Engineer Associate certification. But I want you to notice something very interesting as I scroll down here and we get into the AI ML roles. So for example, let's say you want to be a prompt engineer or a machine learning engineer or a machine learning ops engineer. Notice how it does make a reference to the Machine Learning Engineer Associate. However, if you look to all the way to the right under the dive deep in these roles, it also lists Machine Learning Specialty for the dive deep. And these certification paths, they go from left to right, from foundational to associate to professional, if it makes sense, or specialty. So here's the final verdict. Go for the Machine Learning Engineer Associate if you are more on the beginner side for machine learning and you're just starting your machine learning journey. Go for the Machine Learning Specialty if you've been in that machine learning space for 2+ years and you want to take your knowledge to a deeper level. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Leave any questions you have down in the comments below. And before you go, check out these 2 videos right here, and I'll see you in the next video.